There we go. Right. Okay, so we're on air. The computer's telling me we're on air, so I'll say hello everybody and welcome. Tonight we're going to be playing a brand new game to all of us here. It's Doctor Who role-playing game, Adventures in Time and Space by Crucible 7. We're going to do our best. None of us have played this before, as I say. So if you do know the rules and how the games work and you spot us making mistakes, try not to get too upset about it. My preferred style is if I don't know something, make it up, and we'll sort it out after the game. So, but we'll try and stick as much as we can to the rules as we go along. Playing with Doug and Craig again tonight. I'll let them quickly say hello and introduce their characters. So, Doug, if you want to go first.
Hello, good evening everyone. I am playing the charming, charismatic, but villainous and escaped convict River Song. She has a habit of turning up when the Doctor least expects, and she carries a little blue book of secrets. Spoilers. Thank you.
Oh, cool. And Craig.
Today I am playing Captain Jack Harkness, around the Bad Wolf era. He's been stranded in the future by the Doctor. He's trying to make his way back to get to the Doctor to help him fix himself and everything.
Okay. So tonight we're playing one of the adventures from one of the source books called All of Time and Space. You can find it on the Crucible 7 website, and the adventure we're going to be playing is called Schrodinger's Expedition. So without further ado, it only seems appropriate that I put some intro music in the background, so I'll just get that fired up.
Join Earth's mightiest heroes. Not today, sir.
Once the Infinity Wars trailer has stopped on YouTube, let me press skip.
Go watch Infinity War, it is fantastic.
Is it good?
I'm watching it on Bank Holiday Monday. I tried to watch it last weekend, and sadly it was completely full, so I had to watch Rampage.
Right, so the two of you are in a TARDIS with the Doctor. You are heading through time and space on the way back from one of your adventures when the TARDIS hits some turbulence, starts rocking around and bumping around. The Doctor doesn't seem overly bothered, and he's there in the middle of the console pulling his levers and gears, and before you know it, the turbulence sort of flattens out.
Don't forget to click
Alright, there we go. The turbulence flattens out and the TARDIS comes to a bit of a bumpy stop, and you appear to have landed somewhere.
Sweetie, I've told you before, you keep leaving the handbrake on every time we fly this.
You'd think after 900 years he'd learn to drive.
Well, he never could quite get it. He's a man after all. Where are we?
So the Doctor's there checking his scanners and he can't seem to make out where you are. Nothing's really making sense, and he suggests that maybe you have a quick look outside just to see what's happening while he gets things organised.
What? You're not curious as to where we are? Sweetie, that's not like you.
And he's thumping the console in the middle and pulling his hair out, and it's one of those moments where he looks quite sort of focused on what he's doing, and he sort of gestures you to just have a quick look outside. I can't quite see what's going on.
I'll walk up to Jack, slip my arm in his and go, "Shall we, darling?"
After you, my lady.
Age before beauty, they say.
Alright, I'll go first then.
So as you open the door and step outside of the TARDIS, you find yourself in a corridor. The corridor is kind of a greyish colour. It's fairly long. There's a door. It's probably, let's say it's about 40 foot long, and at the end is a T-junction. You can't really see where it goes. About halfway along the corridor on the left hand side is a door, and the corridor is should we say sort of it's made up of panels, big plastic octagonal panels, but other than that, it's fairly indescript. It's about the size of a human to walk up and down fairly easily. But yeah.
Does this look futuristic? Does this look spaceship? Does this look planet? Does this look building?
It looks like a corridor.
Yeah, I almost said it looks futuristic, but depending on where you're from, when's futuristic? You're time travellers after all, so to you, River, it probably doesn't look particularly futuristic. It's certainly maybe sort of 23rd century.
Okay.
To set an era upon it.
Can we? I'll take a step out.
Yeah.
Just run my handle on the corridor wall, so I can feel or hear anything.
Mm-hmm. And through your intercom, you just hear the doctor just asking what you can see.
Walls, ceilings, and floor.
And he says down the intercom that the sensors in the TARDIS can pick up some life signs a little way away from where you are now. There's a group of sort of humanoid life signs, and then a little way on from that, there appears to be quite a large power source showing on the scanner. And then there's some other minor life signs kind of in the area around the humanoid type of life signs.
Fantastic, let's go see them.
But he can't tell you anything else from that, and as he comes to step out the TARDIS with you, he finds that he's unable to do, as if some kind of invisible field is preventing him from leaving his own TARDIS.
Ah,
That's new.
that is different.
He does reassure you though that he can hear you on the intercom, and not to be particularly panicked. If anything, it's quite interesting, and his curiosity is spiked.
Yes, mine too. I'm going to see if I can put my hand back through.
You can, yeah.
And I can leave?
You can go in and out as you please.
I wonder why the old girl's not letting him leave.
Possessive cow.
I give her a little kiss on the door and go, he still loves you more than me, sweetie. And I'm going to skip down the corridor trying to find out what this life sign is, because damn, I'm curious.
Okay.
I'll sort of walk on, go, yeah, great. Futuristic spaceship, white walls, anti-doctor device. What could possibly go wrong this time?
Okay, so you wander along the corridor, past the door, you come to a T-junction, and the T-junction is another corridor, pretty much identical to the one you've just been in. There's another door halfway along it, and a T-junction at the end.
So,
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, which way shall we go? That way. And I point left.
no, this way.
No, this way.
Doctor, which way is the nearest life sign?
And he says over the intercom that the life signs he was picking up are right of where you are.
I said we go left, so we go.
Right.
Ah, life signs. Ah, I want to go left, but
Well, I don't think there's going to be much for you to dig on here.
no. And unfortunately, I'm going right.
I'll go skipping down the corridor.
Mm-hmm.
Bloody futuristic corridors.
So you're going right. Are you following Jack, or are you going the other way?
Yeah, I was skipping down the corridor. I wanted to go right in the first place.
Cool. Okay. So you wander down the corridor, and the doctor says on his intercom that you should. You've walked straight through the the life signs that were shown, not the human life signs, but the ones that were kind of near them, and wanted to know if you'd seen anything.
I've got a keen sense on sight, so I'm going to have a good look around.
Okay. If you want to give us awareness and what would look good? I guess awareness and knowledge.
Okay, so anything to do with sight is +2 on each. Oh, lovely. Awareness of 10 and knowledge of +2 is 8.
Okay. So you're looking around. You can't see anything other than the corridor that you're in. At this moment in time, you don't appear to see any life signs.
Sweetie, is the TARDIS feeling unwell?
And he just confirms that he's still trying to work on her, but these things are temperamental.
We've scoured the area, and within the corridor there's nothing. Maybe they're in the walls?
I'll tap the wall. Hello.
The wall does seem hollow-ish. It doesn't feel like a solid concrete wall. It feels more like a panel.
Interesting.
Does River have a sonic trowel thing?
Does what?
I think the only item she's carrying is what's under stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I've only blue diary.
Okay.
Which is a shame because, yeah, she would have some sort of sonic normally. But no, unless the doctor gave me his screwdriver, I didn't ask for it, so no. But we've not gone far, I might be able to go back for it.
Can so the tap it. I hear that it's hollow.
Yeah.
Can I try and pull one of the panels off?
Yeah.
Is it like a?
Give us a strength and technology roll, please.
That's 4 and 3. 2d6 in it.
Don't forget your traits if there's anything that help you there.
Technically adept.
That's a good one.
12,
That's only to fix devices though, isn't it?
15. That'll be a 15.
Oh yeah. You find it quite easy. You sort of pull and push a little bit, and quite soon you realise that if you just sort of push the panel in a particular way, the fastenings that were keeping it secure pop off, and you're able to lift the panel down, and behind the panel you can see all kind of the wiring conduits and all the ducts for electricity cables and all kinds of other tubing and pipe work.
I'm going to walk back to the TARDIS because it was only, 15-20 seconds?
Mm-hmm.
And, sweetie, you can't get out and you're in the TARDIS. Let me use that screwdriver of yours.
And as you turn the corner to walk to the corridor towards the TARDIS,
yep.
You come across a group of people.
Jack?
They are holding... They're holding laser pistols, but they're not pointing them at you. They're in spacesuits. They're in white spacesuits. They're humans. Well, certainly look like humans.
Yeah.
And they're holding scanners out in front of them. And as they spot you, they go, "Ah, there they are."
Oh, there they are.
And they say, we saw you on our scanners. How'd you do?
Hello, sweeties. I flick my hair and go, and you are?
We're Cruim. We're the scientific expedition from Pilates.
Ah, the planet next to Yoga. Why are you wearing these suits? The air is fine.
Yeah, they've actually got the helmets off, but they're wearing. They are.
Ah, right.
Yeah, they look like
Okay,
quite.
cool.
They are sort of they're how would you call it? Sort of environmental kind of suits, you know.
Oh, got you. Not full space suits, yeah. Jack, we have company.
The
Uh,
life science we were looking for then.
Doctor,
Weren't in the wall at any point, were you?
Doctor, did you see this?
Yes, I picked it up on the scanners. That's the humanoid life forms that we were detecting earlier. They seem to have found you.
Well, they certainly didn't pass us. So they appeared out of nowhere.
Oh, that's exciting.
Did you pick up any form of transmatter teleportation signal? Or?
Oh, not that I noticed, but I'm busy trying to fix the console. Go and see what they want. See who they are.
Certainly. I'm going to try and get to you first and borrow your screwdriver.
I'll introduce myself to them. Have they got any patches on their suits or anything?
Their helmets are off.
No, patches like NASA patches.
Oh, I see what you mean. They've got like an insignia of the college that they're from. So they tell you that they're a scientific expedition from the Crucible College on the planet AiTaS.
A good college.
I'm from the examining board of the Curing College. Bottom of the psychic paper.
Well, in that case, then let's have.
What have you got so far? What are we dealing with here?
I think that's ingenuity and subterfuge. See how that pans out. Let me just.
So how do the rolls work, Colin? Do you declare each one, or is it a total roll?
So, how do you mean?
So you said you rolled 2d6.
Yeah.
You add the first one to your attributes, and the second one to the skill with any feats you've got.
Yeah.
So I obviously called a 10 and an 8, whereas Craig just called a straight 15.
Yeah. Yeah.
How is it?
Add them together. It's a total.
So it is combined. So
Yeah,
mine
yeah,
obviously was 18 then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
So I got 16 for that roll.
Okay. Right. So one of the chaps, an older fella with grey hair, steps forward and he has a look at your ID, and I'm not familiar with you. I'm one of the professors. I know everybody in the college. Interesting.
I'm not from the college. I'm from the examining board.
Are you indeed? What? Why are you here?
Monitoring your progress, of course.
So why are we here?
That's exactly what I just asked. You're not very good at this, are you?
And he sort of laughs. And he says, as far as we're aware, we are the only people from Quim here.
You really aren't very good at this, are you? I hope you haven't been taking notes from him, you lot. I told you, I'm not from the college. I'm from the examining board.
And they're all kind of looking at each other, looking a little bit suspicious and a little bit confused. And they say, go on.
With that, I'm literally going to walk straight past them back to the TARDIS.
Okay. And to carrying on the conversation, they say to you, well, you must come back to our... we've made a base camp in one of the warehouses just along the corridor. You must come and see how we're getting on then, in that case.
That would be fantastic.
Good, follow us. What about your companion there? Who is she?
That would be Professor Riversong.
Right, someone else I'm not familiar with.
No, I'm from Lunar University. I'm a master's in archaeology and history.
Where is Lunar University?
Oh, it's a bit further away than your planet.
There are other planets out there?
Evidently.
Other civilizations?
Give me
Well,
your...
let's go have a look at this warehouse of yours
Yes,
before we
please.
destroy their entire theology.
You mean we're not alone in the universe? Well, I'm quite quick. Come with us. You must come with us. And as you're walking down the corridor, some of the other scientists are busy scanning you and making little notes on bits of paper and all kinds of things. So you
If you'd like a picture, I'll happily pose.
So you wander along a number of corridors that all look like the ones that you've already seen. They've all got this kind of greyish white octagonal panelling all the way down. There's nothing particularly different about any of them. And you enter a room. It's kind of like a large warehouse. There's shelves. Yeah, go on then. Why not? So I'll probably regret that knowing you, but no, it'll be fine. So you
12 story points to complete the adventure.
Yeah, I should have taken some story points off, shouldn't I? Yeah. I don't know if you're familiar with story points. In the corner of your character sheet, you should see it say story points and a number.
Saw that.
Yeah, you can spend those to get an extra dice for certain rolls. You can spend them to change failures into successes, and you can spend them on hints or tips if you're particularly stuck with what you need to do. Okay, right. So you've followed the scientists into this large warehouse. It's really it's more like a hangar, I suppose, there's rows of shelves that go up sort of as high as you can see, all piled with boxes and artefacts of all kinds. One corner of the warehouse has kind of been cleared out a little bit, and there's some little sort of white tent that's been erected. There's loads of scientific equipment and computers around, and there's quite a large growth of mushrooms over in one corner. Lots of funguses all growing up the wall, and there's lots of scientists.
Mushrooms.
Yeah, there's about 30 odd scientists in this room, all sort of checking out computer screens and making notes and just generally going about their scientific business. So come in and tell us more about this planet that you're from. We believe we were alone up until we met you and found this place. Would you like a cup of tea?
Yes, I'd love one, thank you.
So they bring out a cup of tea and a plate of food, and they sit you down at a little table, and you can just see in the corner of your eye through the white tents there's someone there just dissecting a creature that's on the workbench. It's only about the size of a cat. It looks a bit like a woodlouse. They're busy working away in there to one side, and so yeah, this. So let me introduce myself properly. I'm Professor Kelly Hotel, and well, we thought we were alone until we saw this place. We're on a exploratory mission to discover the secrets of this place, and well, we found you. We thought we were alone up here. I mean, our scanners have picked up other life signs, but you're the first people we've found.
Where did you come from?
We come from the planet Pallades.
No. I mean, we passed through that corridor a minute before we came back and you weren't there.
We've been here for about 3 weeks. Our spaceship is just, well, I say docked. It's anchored to the side of this space station. We had to burn our way in. There didn't seem to be any docking areas at all. It's most strange.
Doctor, have you been able to scan a layout of this?
And the doctor says that he hasn't been able to get a proper layout. The sensors don't seem to be working properly for some reason. He's still picking up the life signs, and they seem to be in the area that you're in. But you are surrounded by other.
Have they stayed the same, or do they move?
Well, the signs he's got on his scanners seem to be the people that you're with, although there are some fainter life signs in the areas around you, and there's a massive power surge a little way away.
Does it appear to be growing or remaining the same level?
It's stable at the moment, but is almost off the scales in terms of its concentration.
Okay. I say to them, are you aware of any power malfunctions whilst you've been here?
No power malfunctions. We've picked up life signs.
It's possible if they didn't even know that they were not alone in the galaxy, they may not be able to detect anything more than that.
You're the first people we've met. We picked up some smaller life signs. They appear to be these creatures. They're just, well, we can only assume that they're space parasites. They don't appear to be particularly harmful to us. One of our colleagues was just dissecting one to see how it works.
So what have you learned so far? Or what have you found of interest?
Well, we've found these other creatures that appear to be space parasites. There's lots of these warehouses. This space station is massive. I think it would take months to explore it properly. There's all kinds of artifacts in here from, well, I don't know where they're from. We've never seen anything like it. We have picked up...
Are they on display on like the shelves and things?
Say again?
Are they on display on the shelves? Like
yeah, they're just on. Yeah, they're on all the shelving. Yeah, it's just racks and racks of artifacts and bits and pieces.
I'd like to go and have a quick wander around and see if there's anything I can place and gauge.
Yes, absolutely. Just mind how you go. This place is enormous.
I'll have a quick look at the nearest set of shelves and see if there's anything I can see that would place this station in a specific time or from a specific place.
Okay. So probably on the shelf nearest to you, just quickly looking over it, you can see there's a scroll which looks like an old treasure map.
Ooh, treasure.
Yeah, there's a leather satchel with some school books from the 60s. Look like they're from the 60s. There is something that you'd recognise, Jack, as the turret off of the top of a Dalek on one of the shelves.
I think River would recognise that too.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you'd gone to yet. There's stone carvings that look almost caveman sort of style.
Okay.
All kinds of things from all kinds of eras.
So, a
Like
space
museum.
station this size, and there is no signs of habitable life.
Well, we don't know there is a space station. We've only really it's only in the last 50 years that we've been able to start exploring into space. This
You're in
place,
space, you've docked next to it, and you've had to cut through the hole.
this place we're at now, we've always it's been in our, we've been able to see it from our planet for about 1,000 years. Long ago, people on Pallades worshipped it as a god, and it's only recently where we've managed to reach to the stars that science has allowed us to come and explore it closer. Now we can see that it's not a celestial body. It is in fact of construction. We don't know who made it. We're here trying to find out the secrets of this place. We until we met you and found this place, we thought we were alone in the galaxy.
I think, Jack, our focus is to identify this power source, for if whoever did make this fled in a hurry, there's a good chance that may be the cause.
I think after 1,000 years, it's fairly safe to say that unless something has changed, the power source may be fairly stable.
So just
Unless they've reached its half-life and it's about to break down.
Well, it's reached half-life, it's got another 1,000 years to go.
we've not made it to the we've not made it to the power source yet. This place is quite large, and the corridors seem to change somehow as we're exploring.
No, that makes sense.
And just as you're having this conversation, the lights start to flicker and go out, and there's quite a loud howl, sound of scratching and clawing, and the yapping of kind of like an animal, really, or animals.
Sonic screwdriver up and scan the surroundings.
Yeah. So your sonic screwdriver can pick up life signs, small life signs, and they're all over the room. It's pitch blackness, no one can see anything, but the laser guns are starting to go off. The scientists are shooting at something, and you can hear some howling and some yapping, much like that sound effect just there. And
it's as if she knows.
yeah, and the scientists are firing off their lasers, and after a minute or two, the emergency lighting in the camp goes back on, and there's some bodies on the ground. They're kind of about the size of a fox, and they're kind of furry, ferret-like looking beasts. But worse than that, the professor that you were just talking to is now missing.
Okay, I'm going to scan one of these with the screwdriver and try and get a good idea of what they are.
Okay, if you want to give me awareness and knowledge check, please.
Alright, well, indeed. So that's a 4 and 4. Nothing more on that. Oh, I rolled a double 1. 10.
10. Okay. You don't know exactly what they are, but searching your memory, you do remember that there are various small life forms that exist in space as parasites and predators. You recognise the mushrooms that were growing around in the warehouse as milk mushrooms, and you know that the beast that they were dissecting in the tent is a silverfish, which is kind of like a cockroach that lives in space and eats these milk mushrooms. But the animals that attacked you, you're not so familiar with, although you have heard that there are larger predators that do live off the silverfish, who also exist in space, and you assume that they're one of those.
I'm going to attempt to use one of my traits and get the doctor to scan the readings and see if he can tell me what it is.
Yeah, so using your... I'll take a story point off you for that. And I'll say that using your sonic screwdriver, you can relay the information back to the TARDIS, and the doctor tells you that they are known as space wolves. And the space wolves are, as you thought, carnivores that live in the old hulks of rotten spaceships, and they do feed off of other parasitic space life forms. They're nothing particularly to worry about. They're sort of scavenger kind of animals.
So they shouldn't have caused a professor to disappear.
They shouldn't, but the one of the other scientists does come up to you and says that the professor is still alive. Each of the scientists have got an implant, a life implant. It monitors their vital signs while they're in space, and they can tell that the professor is still alive. His vital signs are showing, and he's moving rapidly towards the power source that's shown on the scanners.
I think we should be following him, Jack.
Sounds like a good idea.
Let's go, sweetie.
Just as a side note, you do know that every time you use the sonic screwdriver, it costs 2 story points as well.
Ah, I didn't actually.
No, nor did I.
I was just looking because I've got a squareness gun on my stuff thing. I had no idea what it did. If you go through to the core rule book and search for your item, it tells you what it does, what you can use it for, and how many story points. When I use my psychic paper, it costs 1 story point.
That's good to know. In that case, I'll take 2 story points off you for that.
I think we'll keep it as 1 for now and remember it for next turn.
It's a learning curve for us all.
It is. Although the blue diary doesn't appear to be in there.
It wouldn't be, it's just a German, isn't it?
Spoilers.
Maybe.
Although there's a different river song. There's a different pregen in this core book.
There will be, yeah. These pre-gens are
There's
from
different
the
pre-gens for
Doctor.
each different Doctor.
No, on about for River.
Yeah, there's different ones for each different Doctor. Because if you think about it, each iteration of River Song, like back to David Tennant's era, she didn't know who the Doctor was. Sorry, she knew who the Doctor was, but the Doctor didn't know her. So she was at her most advanced point. But if you get to like the Peter Capaldi stage, it's like the first time he meets her, sort of thing.
Ah, interesting.
So there's different points. Same with Captain Jack. There's 2 different pre-gens for him.
It makes sense.
I want this one, the one with the Sonic Blaster and the hallucinogen lipstick.
There's 12 different Doctor pre-gens. You'll be surprised to hear.
Yeah. Makes sense, really. It's 12 Doctors.
Exactly.
And each one's different.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Anyway, moving on.
Okay. So you're going to go and follow the professor, are you? Is that what you're thinking?
I think so.
Okay. Are you going to go with the scientists or set off on your own or what?
They got guns. I reckon we go with them.
As we're walking through and following them, I'll have a quick look on the science, on the shelves to see if there's anything I can spot that could be useful for us.
You can, but what I'll say is the warehouse that you're in is like an aircraft hangar, and the shelves in it, let's just say there's probably thousands of shelves in total. You could spend about a month going through everything. What would be something that you would be interested in?
I don't particularly know at this point. So I'll leave it for now. I'll just idly look as I'm walking past.
I would like to attempt to take one of their scanners and enhance it using my futuristic knowledge.
Okay. Are you going to try and pinch it, or are you going to ask them for it?
I'm going to try and charm it off them.
Go for it. So
Cutie, whilst it's amazing you've got here, I think you realise that actually there's more advanced technology in the world, and I believe I could make that little toy of yours a lot more effective. What say you?
So one of the other scientists stepped forward. This one's a lady, and in the professor's absence, she's the next in command, and she introduces herself as Dr. Smith Papper. And she is in fact a medical doctor, and she is fascinated by you guys. She's never seen anyone, well, like we've established, up until the point they met you, they thought they were alone in the world. So
there's no one like me, sweetie.
Yeah.
Thank God.
She's quite happy to give you a scanner without any problem at all, but she has got a few questions for you first.
Certainly, and I sort of pay attention while I'm trying to enhance the scanner.
Okay, so I'm going to need an ingenuity and technology check to enhance a scanner. But she also wants to know, where are you from, first of all?
Okay, let me do the roll first. Ingenuity is... Oh, yeah. And knowledge, you said? Or, no, technology.
Technology, yeah.
Oh, fantastic. So that's 10. And I can do that on that as well. So I get plus 12 to whatever I roll. How does a 23 sound?
That sounds... Well, what have you got in mind for this gadget? What is it you're trying to...
I am trying to make it not only scan more specific life forms, but also to turn it into a form of map. So do you know, like some of the guns you get on Call of Duty where it gives you the map of the area? Yeah, I want to turn it into one of them.
As they get nearer to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, you can do that. No problem at all.
Fantastic.
So yeah, she wants to know where you're from.
I'm from lots of places. Don't like being kept somewhere more often than not, and don't like being tied down.
So how big is the galaxy? Or how big is... How big... We thought we were alone. How many other planets have got life on them? Intelligent life?
Intelligent is a matter of opinion.
You have been exploring space for how long?
About 50 years since we've managed to just create spaceships. This is the furthest we've been. It's taken us 3 months to fly here from our planet. We've seen this. This has been like a second sun in our sky for 1,000 years, and we've finally developed the technology to reach it for the first time.
I'm going to look.
I'm just going to do some quick math in my head. It took you 3 months to get here, yet it was the same size as a sun on your planet.
Well, it was like the sun in our planet. We could see it. It was in our night sky and has been for about. It just appeared 1,000 years ago in a blinding flash, and it's been there ever since. And as I said, in our past, our ancestors used to worship it. And as we became more advanced and technology moved on, we were finally able to explore it and reach out to it. And we've flown for 3 months to get here, and we're finally here, and it's amazing. We had to anchor to the outside and cut a hole in it, and now we're inside, and it's like nothing. Obviously it's been made by someone or something, and we don't know what, and it's not like anything we've ever seen before, and all of these marvellous things on these shelves that make no sense, and you people are here. How did you even get here? We
arrived in a telephone box.
We didn't see you arrive. We didn't see any other spaceships here. We didn't hear you arrive. How?
Time and relative dimensions in space.
Is this something that you can share with us? Technology you can share? We're eager to learn. We're a scientific, peace-loving nation.
We are too.
You can hear the doctor in your intercom going, "What are you doing? You must let these civilizations develop themselves."
Yes, we're not playing Star Trek now, Doctor. Your colleague, I think we need to find him. Let's go.
Right, okay, well, follow us then. We've got some scanners. According to our life signs monitor, he's headed towards that power source.
And what does my scanner say?
It says the same thing, yeah.
Okay. What I do though is take a quick scan of Jack and send it to Dr. Smith-Pupper's scanner using the enhanced abilities.
Yeah, she's got both of your life signs on her scanner. While they were examining you and taking scans of you, your data was uploaded onto their system, so it can now spot you in its...
If you wanted to probe, all you had to do was ask.
Sorry?
If you wanted to probe, all you had to do was ask.
Okay, so the scientists sort of set off. They're taking the lead, and they're almost semi-run down the corridors because they're quite concerned about their professor. He's quite a esteemed colleague, and
it's It's more the power supply I'm concerned with.
So you all set off at a bit of a trot towards this power supply, and you can see on all your scanners that you're getting nearer and nearer to it. And the scientists round a corner just in front of you, and you follow them. And as you round the corner, the scientists are gone, and standing where you expect them to be, with their backs to you, are a group of soldiers. And as you come running round the corner, those soldiers hear you, turn, and aim their guns straight at you. Freeze!
Why isn't that a surprise we wasn't expecting to see? Hello, kiddies.
Who
And
the
you
hell
are?
are you? Put your hands up!
I oblige.
Why would I put my hands in the air? This scanner's so heavy.
Put your hands up now! And with that, quite a tall...
What are they armed with?
yeah, they're armed with machine guns or laser guns. These are proper military, no messing about kind of soldiers. And the one who looks like he's in charge steps forward and sort of barks at you that he's Commander Yardley Bravo. Identify yourself.
Harkness, Jack, Captain.
Captain Jack. And who are you?
I am an archaeologist. Song, river, civilian.
Never heard of you. How did you get here?
Never heard of you.
River, don't antagonise the ones with the big guns.
Alright, and he just barks at one of the lieutenants and says, take them back to the base. And they've got their guns out and they're sort of pointing, urging you to walk that direction.
Is that taking us towards the power source?
No, it's taking you back in the direction you came from.
Back to the warehouse?
Mhm.
We've just come from that way, guys. We need to go to the power source?
I can assure you, you haven't. Now get moving.
What do you mean? We just came round that corridor. Therefore, with our backs to you, you've turned round. So, if you're taking us back the way we've came, then surely we've just come from there?
Alright, and
The corridors move. We could be anywhere.
with that he clicks his fingers to two of the others who step forward with handcuffs, and they start to try and put them on you.
No, sorry, and I'm wriggling my wrists. I'm not being handcuffed. But I will say to him, in fact, I'm going to caress his cheek and go, ain't you a big, strong boy, sweetie? I'll go with you. You don't need to put them things on me.
Then get
It doesn't
moving.
go with my outfit.
Then get moving, he says, and sort of urges you in that direction. And one of the soldiers starts walking. Follow him, he says.
And I'm going to go, sir, yes, sir. Taking the blatant piss, but I'll follow.
Okay. So you turn around a few corridors and you are in the same warehouse that you've just been in, only this time it's got a army style tent in it. It's got some automatic machine gun turrets, loads of army style equipment, and probably about 50 soldiers, all with sort of set up in a camp. Time to answer some questions. Who the hell are you and how have you gotten here?
I'm going to look at Jack and go, I don't know about you, sweetie, but I think we might be in some sort of temporal flux.
It does seem to be changing around a little bit.
Doctor, darling.
Yeah, and the doctor can still hear you.
What's going on? We have we have new friends that seem to have made the old friends disappear.
Yeah, and he confirms that he can see on his scanners that something has changed, but he's not quite clear what at the moment.
Can you still pick up the researchers?
He's got a group of life signs with you, and he can still see the life signs for the professor that's gone missing, but he can't identify whose life signs are whose. There's a life sign at the power source, and there's life signs with you guys.
Okay. We were with a group of scientists.
Their vital signs are all reading the same. If you can both give us an awareness and I don't really know, awareness and a science check.
Okay. 8. Really fixed device. Oh, and I rolled an 8. 16.
15.
So as you're there with the soldiers and you're looking around, you do notice that a lot of the soldiers are dead ringers for a lot of the scientists. That is to say, they look like the same people, but obviously in different outfits, in different roles.
Does the one barking the main orders to us look like, without a uniform on, Dr. Smith Papa?
No.
So Yandley Bravo and Smith Papa are different people.
There is a lieutenant that looks a bit like Smith Papa though.
Okay, I'm going to home in on the lieutenant and say, "What's your name, sweetie?"
Lieutenant Harold Kilo.
How
Not
Kilo?
Smith Papa? Papa?
Is Corporal Yankee about?
Corporal Yankee? We have no
Yeah,
Corporal
or-
Yankee.
What about Sergeant Mike?
No Sergeant Mike. You need to answer the commander's questions or he'll have you in shackles.
Promises, promises.
Jack, you scared them away, the poor boys.
Don't smile at me.
Sorry, Commander, Johnny Bravo, was it?
Yardley Bravo.
Ah, yes, certainly. Yardley Bravo. Your question was?
Well, who are you and why are you here? How did you get here?
Well, we've already told you who we were. And we got here via a group of scientists who we were following seconds before we encountered you.
There are no scientists aboard this ship.
So who's at the power source now?
I don't know, we've not got to the power source yet. What do you know about it? Is this your ship?
I show him my scanner.
He takes that off you and says, I better hold on to that.
No. I'll let you have a look, but I think I'll be keeping hold of that.
Yeah, he's going to try and take it off you.
I'm going to try and...
So we need to do a strength and athletics contested.
So it's not... I'm not going to charm my way out of this one then.
No, this is a battle-hardened commander.
Yeah, cool. 3, 8, 10, 14.
17. So yeah, he successfully takes it off you. Answer questions or you're going in the lockup.
Well, you've just taken all my information.
Where have you come from? Are you from the surface, from Pallades? Are you from our enemies?
This is getting awfully repetitive.
Yes, the scientists were from Pallades. They claimed it took 3 months to get here.
We have no scientists on an expedition. All spaceships are military.
And how long does it take you to get here from
3 months.
Pallades?
3 months. We've been travelling. This source of power is going to become one of the greatest weapons in our war. We're here to take advantage of it.
Do you know a Dr. Smith Pupper?
No.
What about the Doctor?
The Doctor? No.
What about a big blue police box that flies on its own?
I think you've been
Really adding credibility to our story there, River. Thanks for that one.
No. Corporal, go and lock these guys in the warehouse. They're obviously lost their mind.
Corporal, sorry, your name was?
None of your business what my name was. And he just...
Commander, 2 people have managed to circumvent your entire operation. They've appeared without your knowledge. Clearly you are incapable of command.
Not
Do you
interested
really
in
think that
talking to
locking
you.
it up
Not
is
interested in
in
talking
your
to
best
you.
interest?
No, not interested. You're going in the lockup. And with that, a group of soldiers get up and they usher you into one of the side rooms of the warehouse and lock the door.
Well, I hate being inside cells.
They haven't taken our stuff, have they?
No, they've just thrown you in there.
They got my scanner.
I'd like to use a story point to shoot my squareness gun at the door that they've just shoved us through,
Okay.
which deletes the wall.
Deletes the wall.
Yeah,
Okay.
it just deletes the wall, it's gone.
So it keeps whatever you shoot at there and removes the surrounding area.
Yeah, it doesn't affect tissue, just walls.
So you shooting at the door, are you, or the blank wall?
Just the wall in front of us
Yeah. Okay.
to like, let us pass through.
Yeah.
What sort of
Yeah. So the wall evaporates and you can see the corridor in front of you.
but not the soldiers.
No.
Oh. Well, this is interesting.
I have a theory, my friend. It would
This is like
appear.
your stag do.
It would appear that every time we lose sight of these people, that a change seems to occur. They went around the corner, something else occurred. They shut the door, so we lost visibility of the soldiers. The soldiers disappeared. I think this is something playing with our optic nerve or something. Doctor, are you observing?
I can still see you on the scanner.
The soldiers have gone?
They've disappeared off the scanner. Yeah. You seem to be on your own at the moment.
And do you now detect the scientists again further up?
I can see a live sign on the scanner down the about 2 corridors away. Seems to be on its own.
Okay. Can you detect my enhanced scanner anywhere? Because it should show greater technology.
Not at the moment.
That's gone as well. Okay. Guide us to the life sign. I think we need to follow it.
Okay.
Seems to be the only lead.
Yeah, straight on and then left and then straight on again. And you follow his directions. You come to a corridor, and at the end of the corridor you see one of the scientists. And as you start to approach the scientists, from behind you one of the soldiers appears, and the soldier is a dead ringer for the scientist, and the scientist is a dead ringer for the soldier, and they see each other. And you hear there's a change in air pressure, and almost a clang, a deafening clang in your ears. And as the scientist and the soldier see each other, they kind of like freeze in terror and shock, and they try to move away from each other, but it's almost as if an invisible bond is sucking them together, and they get closer and closer to one another, and they kind of absorb into one being, and their face kind of twists and contorts, and the air pressure is making your ears pop and your eyes kind of run, and then all of a sudden they're gone.
Are they still alive when they're sort of conjoined?
They've vanished. They kind of got absorbed into one thing and then vanished.
I think my theory stands that this is a paradox of some form, and when two beings of the same paradox or different times make contact with each other, they cancel each other out. I think we may be encountering the same thing, dearie.
The doctor comes on the intercom and he confirms what you've just seen. The TARDIS that he's in has just picked up. It appears that you are in some kind of flux between two dimensions. The fabric of time-space where you are appears to be particularly weak, to the point where it's coming apart at the seams like a weak fabric. There's holes that are starting to appear in it, and two parallel timelines appear to be bumping into one another. Quite an unstable place to be.
And I'm willing to bet.
Does this mean that there's two rivers? And then I'll get a smile again. Actually, does that mean there's two of me?
You can play with yourself, Jack.
Read my mind.
I'm willing to bet, my friend, that the power source is probably the cause of this instability. So I think we should head there with post haste.
Yeah, the doctor confirms that the power source certainly.
To do that for the last hour.
Yeah, the
Somebody
doctor.
can stop moving the walls.
He confirms that the power source certainly seems to be the centre of where the time zone flux is at its weakest. He can try and guide you there if you want.
Yes. I love your dulcet tones.
So he
Can I
starts.
spend a story point to ask the doctor if he knows of any race that would be capable of making such a spaceship with this sort of property?
Well, he says there are a few races that can travel through time.
But this one isn't travelling through time, it's manipulating the whole fabric of time.
Yeah, he says he can't, but he's working on it.
Pay for that. Keep a story point.
You wouldn't need to, though, because I've got the doctor as a major friend. So he can give me information.
He does
Sorry
say
for
that
asking for a spoiler.
he does say that the TARDIS appears to be showing peaks and troughs and waves within the time continuum, which is kind of pointing to when it shifts between dimensions.
Okay. So we've got a bit of a notice period.
Yeah, he says he's looking towards shifting in another couple of minutes or so.
I say we.
How far away from the power unit are we?
Not far at all. Just a couple of corridors, and you'll be there.
And let's try and get before the shift.
Okay, so you hurry along the corridors, and it's not long before you come to some stairs. And as you start to descend the stairs, you come into where the power source is, and this is a room that is immediately familiar to both of you because it looks like the control room of a TARDIS. You can see in the centre a large console. It's not the same as the TARDIS you've come from, but you can quite clearly see in the centre of the room a console with kind of old-fashioned, really, compared to the TARDIS you've used to, gearing and levers and whatnot. In the centre is a large column that's pulsing, but in the room are hundreds of these little space wolf creatures. And just in the far side you can see Professor Kelly Hotel. He's still alive. He's got enough sense to not be moving around or making too much of a fuss. These space wolves have obviously dragged him there to eat him at some point, and he's not going to encourage them to do that anytime quickly.
Doctor?
Yep.
This looks like one of yours.
Ah, you found the control room. I'm not reading any signs though. TARDISes have got a mind of their own, but this one's not. This one's not reading any signs, but the power's certainly there.
Could it be fake?
Can I have a look at it? Because obviously I'm quite familiar with time travelling and relative dimension in space devices.
You can, but there's quite a number of these wolves all asleep all the way around it. Are you going to try and tiptoe over them, or what are you planning?
I'm planning to, try and be sneaky if possible.
I could say coordination and subterfuge would probably seem appropriate.
Okay, yes, I'll go with that. 15.
Okay, that's enough to sneak past them for now. So you can just about manage to get yourself to the centre console.
And I do. First of all, I'm just going to try and look at the console itself, see how familiar it is to the TARDIS, what I'm used to.
It's familiar in its appearance, but you can tell it's antiquated device in the same way that a car from the turn of the century would be familiar to you as a car. You can see that it's a very old car and mechanically a lot different.
Okay. Would I be able to operate it though?
You could have a go.
Okay. I'm going to try and just turn it on for the moment.
Alright. So what do you reckon? Ingenuity and technology?
Yeah, that makes sense to me. And
you've got some traits, I'd assume, that are...
Yeah, so Scion of Gallifrey and Vortex. And I've got Time Traveller as well, so that'll be useful. Oh yes, 10, 20, 25.
Okay. So you start poking around with the wiring and the controls, and a holographic recording kind of pops up on the display. You can both see it. It's a woman, and the woman's face is streaked with something, blood or dirt or soot. It's hard to tell in the shimmering blue coloured projection. Her regal looking clothes are torn and battered, like she's been through a fight, and the look of desperation in her eyes is unmistakable. She looks at something out of view and winces. When her head turns back to look at you, she's crying. And then she says, "This is it. This is the end. There is nothing I can do now. Nowhere I can go. I'm gonna die. And I can't even regenerate to save myself. I'm setting a course for deep space. You know what to do, don't you? Find somewhere quiet. Overload your engines. After 1,000 years, they'll think you're just another asteroid. Goodbye, precious one. Goodbye. Her fingers scrabble at the controls, playing over their surface, though the effort obviously costs her dearly. With a final exhalation, she slumps and the projection abruptly snaps off. Unfortunately, the wolves begin to stir, having heard that message.
I'm going to start operating the controls like crazy.
So, collapsing star, exploding. Wolves probably the least of our worries. I'll come and help.
Okay. So, Professor Kelly shouts out to you that you need to run. And the doctor comes on the comm and he's suggesting that you run for it as well. And the wolves are sort of waking up and they're starting to salivate. And the doctor's saying that he's picked up the scans of the power source. It is in fact an ancient TARDIS, but it's well beyond being any kind of device that you could successfully pilot. Its brain, in essence, is dead, and it's just its power source that is pulsing away, which has created this rip in time. Obviously, when it tried to commit suicide, the explosion was enough to rip a hole in the time-space continuum, and a second planet appeared, and for the last 1,000 years, the two planets have been floating along in twin dimensions, and when the scientists and the soldiers from the two different dimensions came together aboard the TARDIS, it has created a meltdown, and it's time to get out of there because these wolves are waking up, is his advice.
As much as I'd like to have a TARDIS of my own, I do see the futility in remaining. Jack! See if you can save Professor Kelly Hotel. And I'm running.
The path between him is covered in wolves, isn't it, at the moment?
Yeah. The wolves are starting to chase, so much like all other hairy creatures. They've seen River starting to run, and they're predators, so they're chasing after her.
I'm running.
So the wolves.
I'll do my best to sort of signal the professor to come to me and meet them halfway.
So the wolves are flooding out of the console room after River. And you guys are kind of on your own in there now, and the doctor's saying that really you guys need to destroy this power source before it really does erupt into the end of time and a black hole.
I'll have a look at the console to see if there's any readings on it.
Me got a feeling the wrong person ran.
Hey, I'm from the 51st century. I'm almost time lorded.
So the professor's advising you that you really need to blow the power source up. Is the only way to really sort of finish it once and for all. But the scientists don't have enough explosive for that.
Well, we did meet some soldiers.
I'm the head of a TARDIS.
Yeah, that too. Doctor, when's the next time warp shift?
He says it's due in about 3 minutes, but he could possibly send out a surge from the TARDIS to make it happen a bit sooner. It'd be a bit risky, but he might be able to manipulate it to a point where you guys need it or want it.
Well, we need to get the military. I would imagine that they have sufficient supplies to blow a hole in this thing. I would sort of get the professor to leave and make his way back to safety, given what happened to the other one that met their doppelganger.
So the professor leaves you. He's quite apprehensive because obviously all the wolves have just ran out that way too. But he's quite keen to get back to his camp as well. So he's sort of set off. He says to you that you need to get some explosives and wrap them around the bottom of the energy source. Only by blowing it up are you going to stop a major,
Blow it up to stop it blowing up.
Well, you can't. The doctor's saying that you can't have two time zones running together, and the fact that civilizations from each of the time zones have now crossed has made the whole thing unstable. No one's quite sure what will happen when it blows up, but it certainly can't be allowed to continue.
And while he's debating that, I'm still running from wolves.
Doctor, I'm waiting for the pulse.
What do you want to do, sorry?
I was waiting for the pulse from the doctor.
Ah, you want him to give it a go?
Yeah.
And you want it in the console room where you are?
Yeah.
Okay. So you can hear him muttering and saying something over the intercom. And he says, stand by, and sure enough, your ears start to pop and your eyes start to water, and the room kind of looks a bit hazy for a moment or two, and you hear him over the intercom saying, I think that worked.
Well, I've had more easy vortex rides.
A little look behind me. Am I still seeing the wolves?
The wolves have gone.
Half a puff, but I'm glad that's done.
I will make my way out of the console room briefly to try and see if I can spot any signs of the military peoples.
They're quite easy to find once you start back down the corridors. They've actually launched a search party for their missing, one of their missing colleagues. As soon as they see you, the guns are up. They're extremely suspicious because they put you in a room and you're no longer there.
Long story short, more advanced than you. Captain, take me to your leader.
Yeah, and then within a couple of minutes you're standing back in front of Yardley Bravo.
Commander, I did tell you that we were your allies. Now isn't really the time to point fingers. I did say that you shouldn't have locked us up. We were right, but we'll let that slide. Do you have any explosives?
We are the Korean military, of course we have explosives.
Could I possibly borrow some?
Why?
Why not? Small detail.
Why would I give an escaped prisoner our explosives?
Technically, I didn't escape. I walked out the door. Escape implies that there was something there holding me back. I fixed that.
I'm going to need some more persuading than that. I'm not going to hand over. Not going to hand over explosives just on the say-so of an alien creature I met for the first time 10 minutes ago.
Have you made it to the control room yet?
What control room?
Perhaps you should see the message that was left, and that will explain why we need to make a big firework.
Oh, you've pricked his interest now. Show me this control room, he says.
I'll take him back to the control room.
Okay.
And fiddle with the switches and try and get the hologram to pop up again.
Yeah, that pops up pretty easily. And he watches it, but it is quite beyond him, to be fair.
Where was I when the pulse went off?
You were running from the wolves in one of the corridors. So where do you want to be?
I would have probably been trying to head back to the warehouse.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you know the way back there more or less, so you can bump into the other guys. Whereabouts would you see them?
To be honest, I'd probably be at the warehouse before them because they were at the console when the pulse went off, and I was running from the wolves.
Right. Okay. Well, you'd probably be surrounded by soldiers when Captain Jack arrives and starts persuading the captain to come and see the control room. They're quite angry that you guys escaped from them.
I did say I don't have a fondness for being detained. Or was that with the other guys? I can never remember.
So, Captain Jack has taken Yardley back to the control room. Are you going to go along there with him?
If the commander's going with Jack, I'm going to start looking around the warehouse, see if I can pick anything up that may be useful for what we're trying to achieve.
You're still under heavy suspicion. The soldiers aren't going to be too keen about letting you just wander around at your leisure.
Is the Dalek head still here?
There is a Dalek head on the shelf, yeah.
I'm going to start playing with it.
And they're looking confused and pointing their guns at you and saying, don't be touching that.
Why not?
Because you are a prisoner. You need to stand still until the commander's decided what he wants to do with you.
Well, the commander's gone off with my friend under his say-so, so he's obviously not that bothered about us.
We don't want to put handcuffs on you, but we will. Put it down.
Do you even have any idea what this thing is, sweeties?
Nope. We don't care.
I'm going to walk off to the control room.
They'll follow you because that was the direction the captain went, so they're not too, or the commander, so they're not too worried about that. So you're all in the control room now?
I believe so.
Mm-hmm. So the commander's just seen the message. He doesn't really understand it.
Commander, let me give you some background information. This is a time ship. They run on the power of a collapsing star. Do you have any concept of how much damage that would do?
I think I'm beginning to.
Not to your enemies, to you.
I think I'm beginning to. If we blow this up, won't we all die?
Not if we set timers. I assume you have a ship anchored nearby.
We do have a ship.
Then I would suggest that you retreat quickly.
Right. And you sure that's the only way?
Well, why don't we just sit here and wait and see what happens? Are you missing any men?
Yes.
I'm sure they just sat and waiting too.
Would he even remember that they were existed? Because technically they'd be removed from existence, wouldn't they?
He knows they were his men, and they're not there anymore.
Yeah. That's probably as much as he remembers, though.
I suppose that explains why the corridors keep moving and how you guys managed to disappear.
Yes, that'll be the fluctuations where one world becomes more dominant than the other. But it's becoming more aggressive, more regular, and very soon both worlds will collapse on each other. Neither will survive.
I guess that's the only way then. And just as he says that, the doctor, he can't hear it, but the doctor comes on the intercom to you two. It says he's done his calculations, and blowing this old TARDIS up is the only way to stop time and space collapsing in upon itself, but it will mean that one of the timelines is erased forever. He says that he can set a rift up for you to jump into the opposite timeline for you to be saved, but it's going to be down to you guys.
Okay. How many scientists were there?
There was about 30 or 40.
And soldiers, you said there was about 50.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's still significant numbers.
It's not just the people on the TARDIS.
No, can we communicate with... Can I speak to my friend alone a minute?
Yeah, he's happy for you to do that. He's a little bit overwhelmed at the minute.
Okay, I'm going to take Jack to the corner and say, in my opinion, and it is purely an opinion, sweetie, that the doctor would want the science people more than the military, as he feels there's more to be gained from that. You know what he's like about guns and killing and soldiers and...
I think the doctor would rather that nobody had to disappear.
Well, he's told us that one has to. What do you think, Doctor? My major friend.
The doctor says that it's by an accident in the space-time continuum that there are two timelines running at the same time, and that's unnatural, and it's affecting the balance of the universe, and if it's not sorted out soon, it could have ramifications that echo like ripples on a pond throughout the entire universe.
Pond.
And
Amelia.
in a way, it's not as if you're choosing one from the other, because they are the same thing. It might even be that they come together, but he can't be sure. The only thing that he's really sure of is that it's an unnatural occurrence in the universe, and it's causing instability, and instability that could be manipulated by other life forms or potentially cause all kinds of problems.
Well, my thoughts on this would be that, as much as I agree the science is a noble pursuit, they have no idea what they are letting themselves in for. They have no way of defending themselves against what's out there. They have no concept of Daleks, no concept of just how cruel and evil the universe is.
Even so, the Doctor doesn't have weapons and he always seems to succeed, so it's not about fighting. I am going to place a... In fact, I'm going to even write it down. I'm going to place a small object, whatever it may be. I don't care what it is, but it fits into my hand. I'm going to walk up to the commander and say, pick a hand.
And he will say left.
And as I turn my hand over, there is a small object in my hand.
Mm-hmm.
Doctor, the decision has been made.
Okay.
Yardley, Commander, sorry. We will give you instructions on where to place the charges. Can you get your men to do that for us?
It'll be done. I can put a 5-minute timer on them.
Will that give you enough time to get to your ship?
It'll be done. It's enough time for us.
Then make it so.
Okay.
Another Star Trek reference there.
So they start laying the charges, and with one final look towards you, he presses the button and the timer begins to count down.
It's been a pleasure, sweetie. See you later. And I'm running.
Yeah, and the soldiers are running, and you guys are running, and everyone is running. And you find your way back to the TARDIS with relative ease. And you jump on board, and the Doctor fires up the engines that he's finally got going. And as you're floating off into space, you can see the, well, I don't want to call it a space station, but the inside-out TARDIS. And you can see a spaceship flying away from the TARDIS, only one. And there's an almighty explosion. And one spaceship appears to have made it out safely. And perhaps, River, you could tell us which one that was.
Okay, so I envisage it being a sleek, matte black ship with a military insignia on both sides, cannons pulsing on the wings, and yeah, it's the soldiers.
And the inside-out TARDIS that was known on Pallades as Anomaly 4 begins to fold itself in and in and in and in, as all the rooms that should have been on the inside that are now on the outside compress until there's only one central room left, and then that one central room implodes upon itself in a pop, and it is no more. And that is the end of the adventure for tonight. And there we are. So that's a bit of a weird one to start with, and I wanted to do one that was a bit weird and a bit sort of spacey, because we normally play D&D and it's quite nice to be in a completely different universe. Yeah. I'll read the adventure synopsis, because the layout of these adventures are quite different to the ones we normally use, so it was quite a bit of a prep wise was a bit of a struggle, but hopefully you got the gist of what was going on.
I enjoyed that.
I'll read you all the intro, and then you can just I'm just scanning up to it. Hopefully it'll all have panned out. That's the only trouble with PDFs is the scrolling bit. There we go. Right.
Someone's done happy there, Craig.
Yeah, some of the nappy joke.
So, once upon a time, before the Time War, there was a Time Lord and a Time Capsule, like the Doctor's TARDIS, but a different model, telepathically bonded together like all capsules and their pilots. The pair travelled through time and space, much like the Doctor and his TARDIS, until there was an accident and the Time Lord died. Stricken and alone, with that telepathic contact lost, the time capsule did the only thing it felt it could do. It took itself far away from civilization, intent on self-destruction. However, the overload of the time capsule's drive systems did not go according to plan. Rather than unleashing enough energy to vaporize itself, the breach in space and time turned the time capsule inside out. All that remained was a maze of corridors and rooms loosely joined together in a seemingly random order around a rift in the fabric of space-time. The final death scream of the time capsule, that silent scream, has continued until now. Yeah, and so there we go. So basically, yeah, it's an old TARDIS that's blown itself up, or tried to commit suicide because its Time Lord Master has died, but it's killed its brain and turned its insides out, and there it was, floating in space for thousands of years above this planet. So that was the gist. Yeah. Right, I'm going to say goodnight to anybody that might be watching this, who's probably completely baffled as to what they've just seen. But thanks for watching, guys, and I'm sure we'll play it again at some point, and thanks for tuning in. Take care, good night.
Bye-bye.